राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीर वनचारी, यमुना तीर वनचारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे, जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम, जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय, जय जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद। हरे नाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने, नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Welcome. And like always, let us do a quick recap of what we did last week. Anybody remembers?
Oh,
We did how many verses? क्या
two
हुआ?
verses. Two
Silence.
verses, Prabhu. I
Okay.
started
And what were the numbers?
numbers.
45 and 46. Yes, correct. So anybody remembers what was covered in that?
Started off with three modes of material uh, nature. So basically, the goodness, passion, and
Yeah,
Ignorance. Yeah.
ignorance.
correct. So what about that modes of matter that the Lord has spoken about there? So which is a better mode?
Mode of goodness among these three.
Acha. Okay. And okay, we did not go deeper into why those modes are good or bad, right?
Right.
But if somebody is in the mode of goodness, would you call him to be excellent or good or bad?
Just good.
It is good. Why is it not excellent? Because Sattva Gun also has its own drawbacks. Okay, so these are very well mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the 14th chapter also, it is mentioned to a small extent. But why Sattva Gun is preferred? It is because of two reasons. The person in Sattva Gun, at least at the minimum, does not go down to the animal kingdom in the next life. Oh, this is very important. Do you remember some kind of assurance the Lord had given in one of the verses before?
Yes, Prabhu.
So what did the Lord say?
If we are on the path of or this path, we shall always continue even in the next life where we left off.
So he basically protects us from the greatest type of fear, greatest danger. And we
Right.
understood that the greatest danger is to fall down in the animal
Animal.
species in the next life.
Right.
So that is the greatest danger. He protects us from that. So that is when he is talking about the path of bhakti. But even a sattva-guni person does not fall down to the animal kingdom. Okay. In fact, he can go to the heavenly planets. He can enjoy over there, but definitely he will not go down to the hellish planets, or definitely not to the animal kingdom also. So that's why it is better. And like, if you want to go to the fourth floor and you are on the ground floor now, you have to go to the first floor, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor only, right? So similarly, if you are in the mode of ignorance, then you have to first rise up to the mode of passion at least, then rise up again to the mode of goodness, and then rise up to the level of Vishuddha Sattva, which is Bhakti Yoga, or even Gyan Yoga also can be part of it. So that's why these modes are, meaning the higher level mode is better than the other, but the best is to come out of these three modes, which is what the Lord is saying. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. And the Lord is telling Arjun that you should transcend these modes. Okay. Okay. Oh, Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. What is the meaning of transcendental? Anybody?
Divya, Prabhu.
हाँ, मतलब क्या? What does being Divya mean?
Pure goodness, meaning above these three modes.
That is correct. But what does transcendental mean? So transcendental meaning beyond the material nature. Okay. So when we say divine, it means basically that it does not have any tinge of material aspect there. Okay. Now, without the proper knowledge of the word divine, sometimes people apply the word divine to certain material things. Like, for example, when you go to a restaurant, if somebody likes the food, they will say, wow, it was divine. Yeah. But finally, it is food, it is material stuff only. It cannot be divine. If for anything to be divine, it should not have a single tinge of any mode of material nature, any material element also. That is transcendental. So Arjun is, meaning Krishna is telling Arjun that these three modes of material nature. Okay, why is Krishna telling become transcendental? What is the problem if I remain in Sattva Gun?
Still, it is in the material world, Prabhu, right? Even it
Okay,
is Sattva.
okay, तो उसका क्या ड्रॉबैक है फिर?
Again,
Still,
that
we are
cycle of
entangled with karma, cycles of karma, basically. Yeah.
करेक्ट. सो साइकिल ऑफ कर्मा बेसिकली हम लोग का जन्म मृत्यु का चक्कर विल कंटिन्यू टू गो ऑन. वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू कम आउट ऑफ दिस साइकिल ऑफ बर्थ एंड डेथ. That is the problem of Sattva Gun also. Okay, and then the 46 was an example where he said that, one should understand the purpose behind Vedas. So just by following Vedas doesn't make sense. One should understand the purpose behind them. तो हम लोग भी कभी ऑफिस में काम करते हैं ना, so अपना our boss tells us or we tell our team member that you please understand what you're trying to achieve, understand the objective, then automatically you'll be able to think about it. So if one understands the objective behind Vedas, then he will understand how to utilize Vedas and what kind of instructions, how to follow them. Okay. Anybody knows what is the purpose behind Vedas?
Little bit,
Oh,
Prabhu. I think
huh?
purpose of Veda is to get the knowledge. First of all, it has a lot of knowledge about Karam Kand. So if
Okay.
we want Karam Kanda means, and Vedas also glorifies a lot of Devi Devtas, what they can give us as a materialistic. And I think ultimate purpose is to raise our conscious level, to elevate ourselves from the material aspect to conscious, like transcendental aspect.
Okay.
And
So let us see what Bhagavad Gita has to say. Okay. This is 15th chapter, 15th verse of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Okay. Every line in this verse has its own individual meaning. Next line says Vedaisha sarvair aham eva vedyo Vedanta krut veda videva chaham. So what does it mean? Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto, meaning I am seated in everyone's heart. Who is seated in our heart?
Krishna
Okay, Krishna in what form?
in Paramatma form.
Yes, exactly. Very nice, Prabhu. So in the form of Paramatma, Krishna is seated in our heart. Okay, that is one. Then Mattah Smrutir Jnanam Apohanam. I think somebody's speaker is on. Prabhu, आप mute करेंगे? From me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. We will go deep into this one when we come to these chapters, but just for the sake of contextual discussion, Krishna is the one who helps us remember something. Sometimes we say, "Hey, मेरे को अच्छा वो याद आया मुझे," and then we are able to do certain things. From me comes knowledge. When we think, अरे यार मैंने बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाई किया, I am a very knowledgeable person, and we are proud about it, we should understand that this knowledge has been given to us by Krishna. And from me comes forgetfulness. Sometimes we forget about certain things and बाद में याद आता है, अरे यार मैं कैसे भूल गया, because of which मेरा ये नुकसान हो गया, वो नुकसान हो गया, ये फायदा हो गया, वो फायदा हो गया, right? So that forgetfulness also comes from Krishna. Now comes the main line. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Vedaishta sarvair aham eva vedyo. Meaning, if you read the complete Vedas, but you do not understand who Krishna is, then nothing, then there has been no benefit of reading that Vedas. No knowledge has entered in our brain. Okay? तो कभी एक हम लोग कभी बोलते हैं ना, पूरा रामायण होने के बाद वो बंदा पूछ रहा है कि राम की सीता कौन है करके. So that will be that state after reading the whole Vedas if we don't understand Krishna. And he is saying, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. So this is what Krishna is. Okay. So basically to learn Vedas is not wrong. To assume that Vedas only talk about Karma Kanda and utilize Vedas from that perspective with the intention of ki Vedas describe these heavenly pleasures very nicely, and I want to go to heaven and enjoy those pleasures, because of which Vedas recommend certain sacrifices and I will do the sacrifice and I will go to heaven and enjoy. That is not the purpose of Vedas. And this whole section, starting from verse number 39, Krishna is talking about that only. So when he says that I have described to you through analytical study, that analytical study is what he talked about from verse number 13 till verse number 37. Abhi verse number 39 mein he is saying I am taking a U-turn now and I am going to explain to you from a different perspective, working without fruitive results. Meaning कोई भी कर्म कांड का एस्पेक्ट नहीं है. Meaning कर्म योग and which later translates to bhakti yoga. That is what he's going to say. Okay. And here also, if you see, he uses the word buddhi yoga. Huh? Buddhir yoge tvimam shruno. Now, whenever you have heard me speaking about Bhagavad Gita, you might have heard me speaking about karma kanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, or bhakti yoga. There has never been a single word of buddhi yoga anywhere else in the whole of Bhagavad Gita, except for this place. Okay. Even in fact, mere khayal se, if I'm not wrong, 39 is the only verse which talks about Buddhi Yoga. Rest, the whole Bhagavad Gita, pure 699 verses, do not talk anywhere, do not mention anywhere about Buddhi Yoga. And what Buddhi Yoga means, in the initial days of our spiritual life, we would perform Karma Yoga. Okay, bhakti hamari kam hoti hai. So we generally would perform karma yoga, and as we progress on bhakti, then karma yoga kam hota hai, bhakti yoga बढ़ जाती है. And the combination of this one is called as buddhi yoga because it is performed with intelligence. So जब हम लोग को why intelligence? So when two options are provided in front of you, okay, one is a material enjoyment, another is spiritual progress. ओके, तो मटेरियल एंजॉयमेंट इज एंटाइसिंग, या बहुत अच्छा लगता है. कहीं पे खाना खाने जाओ, कहीं पे मूवी देखो, कहीं टीवी क्रिकेट मैच देखो, कहीं पे ये करो वो करो एंड ऑल दैट. बट भजन बोलो या भगवत गीता बोलो तो लोगों को वो बोरिंग लगता है. ओके, तो यहाँ पे पीपल आर टेकिंग देयर डिसीजंस बेस्ड ऑन देयर सेंस अट्रैक्शन, not intelligence. But if somebody applies intelligence, then he will be able to understand that this material enjoyment मेरे लिए temporary benefit देगा, मेरे को happiness देगा, but this is going to give me permanent spiritual enjoyment. So when you apply the intelligence, you take a right decision and not a temporary beneficial decision. That's why Krishna is saying this is used or this is performed using intelligence. That's why he is saying it is buddhi yoga. Okay. So we will go to verse number 47. So verse number 47 is one of the most famous verses of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, logo ko we had been to one program. So मैंने ये पूछा था कि does anyone know any verse from Bhagavad Gita? So few people raised their hands. तो मैंने पूछा कौन सा वर्स आता है, तो बोला कर्मण्यवाधिकारस्ते. बोला वेरी गुड, नाइस. तो बोला पूरा वर्स आता है. किसको किसको आता है पूरा वर्स? दे कंटिन्यू टू कीप देयर हैंड्स अप, बाकी वाले नीचे करो. तो ऑलमोस्ट ऑल हैंड्स वेंट डाउन. फिर बोला ठीक है, हाफ वर्स किसको आता है? तो एक दो लोगों के हाथ ऊपर आ गए. बट 8-10 लोगों को द फर्स्ट क्वार्टर ऑफ द वर्स न्यू, very few knew the second one, and nobody knew the third and fourth line. And unfortunately, that is the state actually. So when people are very meaning passionate about Bhagavad Gita कि यार हिंदू लोगों की है, हमारी भगवत गीता है करके वगैरह, but what is there in Bhagavad Gita अगर उनको पूछो तो they only know one sentence, that is कर्म कर फल की चिंता मत कर. What else is there in Bhagavad Gita? Nobody knows about it. Okay, and this is that verse which talks about karma kar fal ki chinta mat kar. Okay, so we are going to study that and we will see, has Krishna actually said that, or what is he actually saying? Is he saying karma kar fal ki chinta mat kar, or what is he actually saying? We will see that. Okay, anybody has any question about whatever we have done so far?
Prabhu, just one doubt. Now, we spoke about the three modes. Na? How do we like measure or let's say determine a person in the mode of passion or ignorance?
So, Prabhu, these things will be covered in three different chapters.
Okay.
Okay, so first is this 14th chapter. It talks about at a summary level what these three modes of material nature are. Okay, then you have this 17th chapter where Krishna talks about. Okay, let's quickly go through it. Okay, so in these verses, he talks about what kind of people worship whom, demigods, demons, ghosts, spirits, कौन किसको worship करता है. Okay, then the food that people eat, what kind of foods are eaten by what kind of people, then what kind of sacrifices are performed by whom, what kind of austerities, huh? Austerity of body, words and mind. Okay, then again austerity at a bodily level in terms of penances. Then the charity that people perform, right? We talk about donations and all that many times, right? We will look at Bhagavad Gita's perspective on charity. Amazing, just amazing. In just three verses, he has summarized in principles everything about charity. Okay, this is about 17th chapter. What he talked about in the 14th chapter is at a definition level what these three modes are, what are the results provided by which kind of mode. Okay, and how are these modes, how do they interact with each other, how are these modes born, how do they flourish, how can they be subdued. All this has been mentioned here. When one dies, yeah, this is important. When one dies in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, what kind of results they get? So people who die in the mode of goodness, they go to higher planets. Those in the passion, they continue to perform these passionate activities like karma kanda. And those who in the mode of goodness, ignorance, they take birth in the animal kingdom. So in great detail, 14, 17, and 18 talk about these three
Okay.
modes. It's a bit too early. Krishna has just, told us that the address of the three modes of material nature. When we go to the 14th, the door will open and we will be able to enter inside and then learn more about it.
Sure, bro. Thank you.
Anybody, any other question? No? Okay. So let's read this verse together. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्य
मा फलेषु कदाचन
मा
फलेषु
फलेषु
कदाचन
कदाचन
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भू
मा
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 कर्मफलहेतुषु
कर्मफलहेतुर्भुः
मा ते संगोस्त्वकर्मणि.
माते
मा
मा
ते
ते
सङ्गस्त्वकर्मणि
सङ्गस्त्वकर्मणि.
Who can read the translation?
Hare Krishna. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Now, before I go into the explanation, can you tell me what have you understood by reading the translation? And what was your understanding about this particular verse as of now? Anybody? This is a very important verse. This verse forms the basis of Karma Yoga.
So,
Okay, so it's
Prabhu,
very important to understand the details.
so from the first look, I mean, we do our duty, be as a family man or you be as a professional, but don't get attached to what is the outcome of the duty we are doing. So be it
Okay.
yeah, then and whatever result is out, don't think that it is the result of let's say Yeah, I mean that part I would.
Okay, fine. Anybody else want to try?
Uh, Krishna here also says, like you said in the when we were discussing, that whatever you remember is also because of me, and whatever you forget is also because of me. You are not the one who does it. So never consider yourself the cause of the result for your activity. So whatever actions you are doing, or the karma, or whatever is being done, is what God is casting it. Sort of, God is the reason behind it. You are not the reason behind it.
Okay,
And never be attached to the not doing. I think it's very clear. I mean, at least this sentence is very clear. Not doing it,
okay,
doing your
okay, okay. Anyone else, or shall we start? Deepak Prabhu, Jitu Prabhuji, Rohini Mataji, do you want to try?
यस प्रभु जी, पहले तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग यही था कि कर्म किए जा, फल की चिंता नहीं कर, right?
Correct.
तो लेकिन थोड़ा सा इस श्लोका पढ़ने के बाद अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये है कि कर्म इज इन आवर हैंड and we should not attach with the outcome of that karma. That
Okay,
outcome or result, it is not in our control. We have only karma in our control. Means we should focus only on the karma rather than attaching to the fruit or outcome of this karma.
okay, okay, fine. Okay, so let's understand this. But prior to understanding this one, aren't you a bit surprised about the word adhikar that Krishna uses, which translates to the right? So you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. So the word right and the word responsibility are understood by us in a bit different manner. So when we work for one whole month in a company, it becomes our automatic normal right to our salary, right? And when it comes to performing the duty, it becomes our responsibility, right? So the word right and responsibility are like interchanged here. Krishna is saying you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. Now, why is he using the word right for a duty? What does it mean is you do not have a right to perform somebody else's duty. What it also means is, if you remember, Arjun had mentioned to Krishna that I want to take a begging bowl in my hand and go around begging for food. I will be more happy begging rather than killing my own relatives. Even if they kill me unarmed and unresisting, it is still better than me killing them. Okay. Now, a Kshatriya is forbidden from begging. A Brahmana is allowed to beg, but a Kshatriya is not allowed to beg. So there are certain do's and there are certain don'ts for every Varna. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. There are certain things that they can do, certain things they cannot do. Okay. Now, it may seem as if this is discrimination, but when we come to the fourth chapter and we learn the verse number 13, then we will understand that it is not discrimination. I'll not go deeper into it now. We will go and discuss when we reach to the 4.13. So Krishna is saying you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, which is the prescribed duty for the Kshatriyas, not for the Brahmanas. Okay. Now, if you go to verse number 38, you will see that he has mentioned do a fight for the sake of fighting, because that is your duty. Don't consider happiness, sadness, distress, loss, gain, victory, defeat. These things are the results which should not be the motivating factor for you to take the decision whether to do your duty or not. What do we do today? We always ask what is the result going to be. If this result is as per my expectation or above my expectation, I will perform. If it is not, then I will not perform the duty, right? So all our decisions to perform or not to perform an action are based on the outcome. So the outcome is thought about first, and then based on that we take a call to act or not to act. Krishna is saying you should not look at that perspective. You should only look at whether it is your duty or it is not your duty. And accordingly, you should perform your action. Now, let's go to the second line. Yeah. What is he saying? You have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you do not have a right to the fruits of your actions at any time. Now, what does it mean? So, I work for one whole month in my company, and the company, the CEO of the company reads this particular verse of Bhagavad Gita, and the good idea comes to his mind, and he says, okay, all guys come here. You have to perform your duty for every month, but you do not have a right to your salary, right? So, is it what Krishna is meaning that? What do you think? So Krishna doesn't say that. Okay. What Krishna is saying is the expectation will be fulfilled. This particular thought should not be the driving factor, which means what? That I'm going to work because I'm going to get salary. Now, after I have worked, salary becomes my right. No, it is not. Whether you will get the salary or not get the salary is not dependent on whether you have performed your work or you have not performed your work. Now, this may seem to be complicated, but let's take an example of this one. Okay. To understand this one, we need to understand that life doesn't start at our birth and doesn't end at our death. Life is much more than that. Okay. So a soul lives even before this body was born and will continue to live even after the death of this body. This is what we learned in terms of the characteristics of the soul. So what happens? Let's assume I have undergone 10 births, just for the sake of discussion. In the 7th birth, I have performed certain activity because of which certain fruits are supposed to come to me. But for some reason, I did not get in the 8th and 9th birth. I'm going to get that in the 10th birth. Okay. So let's assume I got a very good job. Okay. And that pays me very well. So what will I think? That it is because I am an intelligent person and because I'm a highly qualified and very well experienced person, I got this job, right? But that is not the reason. What do we do? Generally, we tend to link the immediate cause with its effect, isn't it? So that's why we think because मेरा इंटरव्यू अच्छा हो गया मेरे को जॉब मिल गया. नहीं, वैसा नहीं है. Your destiny had decided that you will get the job. Us related, as per your certain activities, the result of your previous activities have been given to you now. We always make that mistake to think that Baba, मैंने ये काम किया इसके लिए ये फल मिला मुझे. But this फल may not necessarily have come to you because of this particular action. It may have come to you because of various other actions. So to think that this action has given me this result itself is to think that because I have performed this action, I am entitled to this particular result. And Krishna is saying, no, your current result is not alone dependent alone on this particular action. It could have been a result of various other activities done prior. So you thinking that because it is me who has performed this action, that's why the result of this action I am entitled for it. नहीं, वैसा नहीं है. Is this clear or doubts are there? Huh? Complicated है?
No, bro, it's fine.
रोहिणी माताजी, दीपक प्रभु, गरिमा माताजी, जीतू प्रभु, good morning.
Sachin Prabhu, actually, I'm just one doubt. So you mean to say duties and responsibilities and karma all are same?
Karma is a broad word. So karma can encompass action, karma can encompass result, karma can encompass law of karma also, right? So duty is like, for example, Jitu is a householder. So he has certain duties. That is your duty, which is same as your responsibility also, correct? But your action may not necessarily align with your duty. That's possible, right? I'm supposed to wake up early and I'm supposed to cook for my children and drop them to school. But one day I will decide, nahi, bhad mein jaye school, nahi utna hai mere ko. So what I have done, my duty and my action are not aligned with each other. So karma, depending on what meaning of karma we take, if a certain action has been performed and the result is received, then we say mera karma acha tha. So karma doesn't necessarily mean कि ये current action अच्छी थी. It could mean that मेरी previous some in some life in this or the previous life I had done certain action. उसका result ये कर्मा मुझे अभी दे रहा है मुझे and जो मुझे मिला. Because इसका immediate cause we understand it to be the immediate action performed, we link it that this cause and this effect. But it could be anything else. ऐसा
Got
ही.
it, Prabhu. Yeah, but the now so in that line, so anyways, we're expecting the fruits, right? I mean, we were expecting the results, not right now, maybe in the later stage, but still we're expecting, right?
नहीं expectation नहीं है. See, automatically मिलना and to expect that are two different things. If you send a letter to somebody and that other person receives it, it is automatic. But to expect that letter, whether somebody sends it or not, that is a different thing, right? And it happens, right? We see so many times our expectation doesn't get fulfilled. If expectation is the cause of our result, then every time our expectation should get fulfilled, isn't it? But the result is not based on our expectation, it is based on our karma. It is not even based on our immediate action. So अगर हम लोग अच्छा काम किए हैं and if we are getting good results, okay, so it is because of that karma. Now how do we understand it? Okay, let's say this is a common question, right? Why do bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people? Anybody knows? We covered this in our first few lectures. Can anybody answer?
This is depending upon our past life karmas as well, and we remember we had taken that example where we had put the good grain down.
Exactly.
We kept
Exactly.
putting the bad grain. So when we open it from the down first, the good grain comes. So yeah, I mean you
Yeah.
can explain them better.
Yes. Yes. Excellent. In fact, I was about to give the same example. Yeah. Thank you so much. So let's take an example of a vessel. Okay. So first you pour wheat in it. Let's say 1 kg. So wheat नीचे आके settle हो गया. Then you put rice in on top of that one, and then you put dal on it. And then there is the opening at the bottom of the vessel. And when you open the opening, the cap, what will first come out? What do you think will come out first?
Wheat, of course.
Wheat,
The
right?
down one.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wheat खत्म होगा, फिर rice आएगा, फिर rice खत्म हो जाएगा, दाल नीचे आ जाएगा. Simple, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So this is same thing that happens. Okay. Now a person has. I will take excellent example. Yeah, this is what I give to my other classes also. You know Vinod Kambli, he was a very good cricketer, and we know Sachin Tendulkar, right? Okay, as per the experts, Vinod Kambli was more talented than Sachin Tendulkar, right? Even when they scored triple centuries when they were in the school, Vinod had scored approximately 350 odd runs, and Sachin had scored 320 runs. Okay, so experts say technically Vinod was better than Sachin. But what happened? Did the talent convert to the fame, prestige, money, and all that? No, it doesn't, right? So this, that I have a talent doesn't necessarily mean that the talent will convert into the expected result. So it could be that if you apply karma into this one, maybe Sachin had performed a lot of pious activities previously, whether in this birth or previous n number of births. Maybe Vinod Kambli may not have done it, or maybe he had some probably sins also. We don't know. So it could be that these results are now coming to him, both of them. So it means that your action of playing very good cricket, being talented, is to be done anyway. But to assume that this will result into fantastic rewards is not necessarily going to be the case. One moment, Sanika, wire charging. Okay, so that is how we can understand this one. So when we open that vessel of grains, the first the wheat comes out, because that is the first one done. Then rice, then this one. Now there is a twist to this one, that people when they do demigod worship. Okay, this is a very complicated topic. Uh, it's not necessary that you will understand everything in this go itself. But people, when they do demigod worship or they perform karma kanda, they Vedas and all that stuff, you do not get more than what you are supposed to get. The only thing is the timing of that reward changes. So what happens? Let's say you have a child. That child is doing very good in studies. Okay, and you promise him a bicycle or a motorcycle after so and so exam. Okay, so the child does not have sufficient patience. What it asks for is continuously pesters you, nahi abhi kyun nahi, 6 महीने के बाद क्यों, why not now, abhi de do and all that. दिमाग खा रहा है आपका. So finally, because you know, yes, he is a very good student, I have promised him that if he scores 95%, I will give him bicycle, but I'm confident he will score 95%. Let me give him the bike now itself. तो आपने क्या किया, जो आप 6 महीने के बाद देने वाले थे, you have given that child now itself. This is precisely what demigods do. They do not control your karma. They do not amplify the good karma. They do not amplify the bad karma. They do not reduce as well the good or the bad karma. According to your karma, you get what you are supposed to get. We make a mistake to link it with our own ability. We think that यार मैं कौन हूं, यार मैं ये 30 मार खाऊं, मैं ये तो मेरे को तो मिलना ही चाहिए. Yeah, we think this way, right? But Krishna is the best leveler. He may not necessarily give you just because you think you deserve it. So if you remember, we had taken this example when you go to a shop. Okay, let's say you want to buy a car. Okay, so what you will probably, you may have a budget of say 100 or 200 or 300,000, right? And you will buy that car accordingly. Will you go to a Rolls Royce shop and say, yaar, मेरा budget 200,000 but I want to buy a Rolls Royce? The dealer will say no, you need to pay 800,000 dirhams. Only then you can get a Rolls Royce. So what will you do? You will come empty-handed. I'm just removing the possibility of a loan just to avoid complicating this example. So you cannot buy that Rolls Royce just because you have a budget of 200,000. So what has happened? Your exchange of the reward or the product which is going to happen against the money that you render, that was possible only if you had a budget of 800,000, not 200,000. Correct? So similarly, the reward that we expect in our life, if it is purchasable with our previous karma, then we may get it. But if it is not, we may not get it. So karma acts as the currency for buying the rewards in our life. Is this clear? क्या
Yes,
डीप
Prabhu.
था कॉन्सेप्ट या क्लियर और स्टिल नॉट क्लियर?
No, it's clear, Prabhu. Thank you.
गरिमा माता जी, दीपक प्रभु, जीत बाबू।
जी क्लियर।
नहीं
Clear.
नहीं प्रभु जी, प्रभु एक क्वेश्चन है तो यह से कि आपने एग्जांपल दिया कि we think we are doing this and that's why we are getting this result, but it was already destined to get that result, right? Or whatever.
करेक्ट।
So is it I believe that when we do a lot of karmas, it also has reactions, right? Actions and reactions. So how does
बराबर।
that thing goes if
Correct.
everything is destined here, right?
Okay, very nice, very good question. Okay, so let's look at one particular verse. Okay, so your question, I'm just extending that a person may think कि मेरा destiny में है, तो I am anyway going to get, so why do I need to work? बराबर ना?
Yeah, Prabhu.
हाँ,
And another thing is, if I do bad karma, उसका reaction भी तो होगा. So it will change
बराबर।
my destiny, I believe, right?
ओके, सो कैसा है कि डेस्टिनी चेंज हो सकता है, नो डाउट अबाउट इट, बट ऑन अ रेगुलर कोर्स अगर देखो ना कर्मा के एंगल से, कि देन बेसिकली okay, there are, okay, let's look at it this way. So there are 4 stages of karma. So and we will relate this with the example of a seed and tree. So when you want fruits, what do? First you plant the seed, okay, which is called as bijam. That is the first stage of karma, that you plant the seed. That means you perform an action. So uska wo plantation ho gaya seed ka, which will give you the result sometime later. Now that seed fructifies and it turns into a sapling, छोटा सा ट्री बन जाता है. The next stage क्या होता है? The plant becomes a big tree, sufficiently grown enough to give you flowers and fruits. Then वो flowers, fruits देता है and the fruits become ripe, which is ready to eat. Okay. So now if you take karma also क्या होता है? You put a seed, okay, and that seed then उसको water वगैरह मिलना चालू होता है and then it starts growing into a plant and then into a tree and then it gives fruits. And then when these fruits are ripe, then that result starts coming into our life. Okay, now let's further extend this example. क्या होता है? There are certain trees which give fruits in probably 1 month, 2 months time. अगर टोमेटो या पोटैटो का झाड़ लगाओ तो 3 महीने में फूल आ जाता है. ओके, बट अगर आप मैंगो लगाओगे या जैक फ्रूट लगाओगे तो उसको 8-10 साल भी लग सकते हैं, राइट? सो सिमिलरली व्हाट कर्मा हैव यू परफॉर्म एंड उसका रिजल्ट कितना टाइम लगेगा, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन दैट. तो समटाइम्स अभी एक एग्जांपल देता हूं मैं. ओके, this okay, we will not take any more verse today. We will talk about this one only. There is this third and fourth line which I'm yet to talk about, so I may need 5-10 minutes extra today. So Dhritarashtra, after the war of Mahabharat was over, okay, he understood who Krishna is because Vidur ने उसको काफी ज्ञान दिया था. So one day he asked Krishna, so you are God, we understand that, so can you please tell me मैंने ऐसा क्या गलत किया था because of which I lost 100 sons, all the 100 sons in a single life. Why are you so cruel to take away all my 100 sons in a single life? बोलते कि I also have a lot of strength of austerity and penance and तपोबल मेरे पास काफी है, and with that तपोबल I was able to travel backwards for my 50 lives. मेरे 50 जन्म मैंने डिटेल में देखे and tried to find out what पाप कर्म did I do to suffer for loss of 100 sons. Okay, but मुझे कुछ नहीं मिला. So you are God, you please tell me what did I do wrong to get this one. So Krishna said कि you went back 50 lives, एक और जन्म you should have gone behind then you would have got the answer for this one. Then Krishna told him, 51 lives back, you were a hunter. Okay, you had spread the net to catch the birds, and उसमें एक female bird आके अटक गई. Then you were about to catch that, और उसी टाइम पे the male bird came and उसने उसको छुड़ा लिया, and both of them flew away. So you were very angry because you lost your prey. So what the both the birds went and went onto a tree जहाँ पे उनका एक बड़ा ऐसा nest था. Okay, and that nest, in that nest they had 100 small birds, children birds. So you were so angry because you lost your prey, that what you did was you took a arrow and you put fire on the tip of the arrow, and उससे आपने वो nest के ऊपर छोड़ दिया. And looking at that arrow with the fire coming, both the birds, female and the male, they went or they flew onto another tree and they sat over there. And with that, they saw their nest burning, and all the 100 birds died with that. And you, instead of feeling remorse about it, you were happy, you were smiling, you were laughing. So to make you feel the pain of the loss of 100 sons, this is why you have lost. So then he asked, but then why after 50 births? Nobody remembers their karma, and this one after 50 births. But आप इतने क्रूएल कैसे हो कि आपने 50 जन्म तक मेरा याद रखा and मेरे को अभी सजा दे रहे हो. So then the answer Krishna gives was that for 50 births, you were doing only a certain amount of pious activity by which it allows you to get 2 sons. तो 50 जन्म में दो sons worth पुण्य आपने accumulate किया था, and उसका result आपको अभी मिला in the form of all the 100 sons. And those 100 sons were destined to die anyway, and you were also supposed to feel the pain of that loss of 100 children birds. That's why all these coincided with each other, and this action has happened, this karma has happened. तो ये पूरी कहानी से ना we learn a lot of things. Firstly, Krishna does not control our karma. Okay, Krishna controls if he wants to, and only if we request him to, in the bhav of a bhakti. Okay, then the Dhritarashtra did not perform bhakti, otherwise his karma would have got burnt away. Okay, Krishna did not interfere in Dhritarashtra's karma. उसके जैसे कर्मा थे उसको रिजल्ट मिल गया. तो इसमें और एक चीज हम लोग पता चलती है कि अगर the reaction of his killing of those 100 birds is destined for him, तो ये देने के लिए the necessary quantity of punya will have to get accumulated. तो वो सारा accumulation and इसका result is the kind of a system of law of karma, and which completely manages whole thing to ensure that तुमको जितना मिलना है उतना मिलेगा, जब मिलना है तब मिलेगा. So when we say कि भाई मेरा ये एक्शन का ये कर्मा अभी आ गया, मैंने कुछ किया रहेगा पाप कर्मा and all that, yes, everything is getting accounted. We just need to be mindful about it. We should not think कि भाई मैंने ये एक्शन किया एंड मेरे को ये रिजल्ट मिला. टेक एन एग्जांपल, समटाइम्स whether in the professional life or a friend circle, families, relatives, कुछ भी होता है, we sometimes speak certain words. Yeah, they may not be good, they may not meaning they may hurt somebody, right? So that person may not immediately retaliate, he will keep it in the mind, and at the right time he will give it back to you. Karma also does the same thing. Karma will not forget your good as well as bad actions, and it will give it to you at the right time.
So Sachin sir, just one question from my side.
Huh.
So is there any concept like plus minus cancel. Like,
No,
so suppose, no?
no. So
Okay.
we think, you know, कि मैंने ये पाप कर्म किया है तो अभी मैं थोड़ा पुण्य कर्म करता हूँ and all that वगैरह, वैसा नहीं है. But what the Shastra allows you to do is something called as repentance, paschatap. Have you heard this word? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Paschatap is a Sanskrit word. If you break down, it means paschat and tap, which means when we perform a certain incorrect activity, okay, we feel bad about it. That bad is, you know, causes us lot of mental disturbance. So it is called as बहुत ताप हो रहा है मुझे, meaning बहुत तकलीफ हो रही है मुझे. Okay, that taklif could be physical, it could be mental also. And paschat meaning after, later. So after performing an action, when we get certain some sort of voluntary mental disturbance, it is called as paschatap. So now what it means is, you know, if you feel that you have done something wrong, then the Shastra allows you to perform certain sacrifices, pleasing certain demigods, which is in some way or the other negating what you have done previously. Okay. तो there are certain things like अगर किसी ने, हम लोग ने कभी सांप को मारा, नाग को मारा, तो there is something as a counter measure. In this life you perform certain puja and then that sin gets removed. Yeah, ऐसा Shastra allows this. Yeah. But today the situation is we do not know what we have done previously. We do not even bother to find out. Many people do not even know karma. Okay. And I've been telling about this one. If you do not know karma, if you do not understand karma, then there is a meaning you will not understand reincarnation. Okay. So let's look at the link here. So when certain things happen in our life or somebody's life or do not happen, तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, वी गो इनटू अ थॉट कि भाई क्यों हुआ या क्यों नहीं हुआ, मुझे क्यों नहीं मिला. ओके, मेनी अ टाइम्स वी आर अनेबल टू लिंक इट टू कर्मा, बट दोज इंटेलिजेंट पीपल हु आर एबल टू लिंक इट टू कर्मा, दे विल अंडरस्टैंड, यस, मेरे पहले वाले कर्म अच्छे थे या अच्छे नहीं थे, बिकॉज ऑफ इट दिस रिजल्ट हैज कम इन. Now when some of the questions get answered by karma, some of the questions may not get. कि भाई, why is certain person born in the family of Ambani and certain person born in the family of a beggar on the street? अंबानी के बंदे को अगर दिन में 1000 किलो खाना खाएगा तो भी वो 10 पीढ़ी खाना खाते बैठेगा, बट ये बंदा बेचारा बेगर के घर पे बैठा, उसको तो पूरे जन्म में 1 किलो राइस नहीं मिलेगा. ऐसा है. तो ये ऐसा क्यों होता है? Now, when this question needs to be answered, you cannot answer it from the perspective of the current lifetime. Only then you will start understanding about reincarnation. जब reincarnation समझोगे, तब आत्मा and body ये दोनों का difference समझेगा. तो अपने को पता चलेगा कि we leave the body and we take another body, but the atma remains same. And this is the karma that travels along with the atma from one body to another. जब आत्मा के बारे में पता चलेगा, तब then we will start questioning, Baba, why am I in this body? तब then you will start going towards spiritual progress. तब फिर you will start looking for karma yoga, jnana yoga, and then you will understand पाप कर्म, पुण्य कर्म, both of them bind me to a particular body. तो जितना पाप कर्म खराब है, उतना ही पुण्य कर्म भी खराब है. And then we will start performing akarma, bhakti and all, then they will then progress towards Krishna bhakti will start. So this link is very important to understand. Okay, so ये nullify नहीं होता है. Nullify क्यों नहीं होता है? Because the expectation that you had, the motivation that you had while performing that action, okay, that motivation and the result of that has to be awarded by Krishna. So Krishna ये नहीं बोलता है कि भाई तुम्हारा यहाँ पे क्या बोलता है, 1000 रुपए का तुम्हारा फायदा हो गया और दूसरी जगह पे 1000 रुपए का नुकसान होना चाहिए, तो तुमको नेट ऑफ कर दूंगा. वो ऐसा नहीं करता है. तुम्हारा फायदा भी देगा एंड नुकसान भी देगा एट द राइट टाइम. तो वो नलीफाई नहीं होता ये. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.
Complex है समझने के लिए या it is okay? Rohini Mataji, what do you think? If you say it is simple to understand, then I would expect all the other four to say yes, it is simple.
Yes, Guruji. I was just not replying because Parth was just playing and he was making a lot of noise.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So let us look at the remaining two lines quickly. Okay. So what does it mean? That you have a right to perform your activity, not somebody else's activity. That is clear. Okay. Then you are not entitled to the fruits of action. That is also clear. And we link that with karma, previous karma to understand it. Now what happens is we consider ourselves as the cause of our activities. Right. So Krishna is saying that what is in your control, it's only your action. You can perform your action. That is only in your control. Okay. So let's assume an example of a farmer लेते हैं. तो farmer के हाथ में क्या है? He can put the seeds in the soil. He can water it, and he can plow the soil, and he can pluck the fruits whenever it comes. Okay. और बेच सकता है market में. The what is not in control are the factors which are required for the growth of the seed. So soil के अंदर की qualities, okay, उसको लगने वाला water, उसको लगने वाला sunlight, उसको लगने वाला moonlight, उसको लगने वाली air, all these factors are beyond the control of the farmer. So to say that the farmer has cultivated this apple or mango because of which 100% credit goes to the farmer, that's not appropriate. The farmer did not have control on any and every factor except for his action, and all other factors are under the control of Prakriti, material nature, and material nature is under the control of Krishna. So to think that you have done a certain activity is also incorrect. या ऑफिस में हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, टीम वर्क है करके, बराबर ना. So if a project goes live, हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं कि so many people did so much of work because of which this has gone live. So if you were to try and grab the complete credit for yourself, ignoring the team members, people will not like it. People will say, no, that's not appropriate, that's not correct. तो यहाँ पे भी for the growth there are n number of factors applicable. You were one of them. Your action was one of them, not the whole and soul. So Krishna is saying, don't consider yourself to be the cause of the activities or the results. And to think that because Arjuna fought and that's why Pandavas won the war, we understand Mahabharata, right? We know it is not correct. How much Krishna helped Pandavas. So we understand it is because of Krishna that Pandavas won the war. So to think that because Arjuna or Bhim and Yudhishthir fought the war and they won the war, it will be equal foolishness. Yeah. So these are the factors that contribute to the result of an activity. You are one of the component. So don't think that your action is the whole and soul. So you cannot consider yourself as the cause of the results of your activities. Now automatically a question comes कि भाई even if I work, you are saying I'm not the one who worked. Even if I work, I cannot expect result. तो मैं काम ही नहीं करूंगा. Right? So Krishna is saying never be attached to not doing your duty. And there are two perspectives to this one. Okay. The first perspective is that you firstly cannot avoid work at all. Okay. Let's look at chapter number 3, verse number 5. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishthatya karmakrut karyate yavashah karma sarvah prakriti jayrgunahi. Everyone, okay, everyone is forced helplessly to act helplessly. Avashah, absolutely nobody has any control. When I'm acting, when I'm performing an action, I do not have any control not to act. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. So based on the influence that I have from the Sattva, Raja and Tamagun, I will perform action. and I will perform it helplessly. Okay. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So to think that मैं काम नहीं करूंगा is not technically possible because that is not in your control. And then if you say कि भाई मुझे result नहीं चाहिए इसके लिए मैं काम नहीं करूंगा, that also is not correct. Because result तो तुम्हारे control में है ही नहीं. So you will still have to work. So now अर्जुन में और वन में थिंक कि भाई मैं काम ही नहीं करूंगा ना, फिर मेरे को रिजल्ट नहीं चाहिए, रिजल्ट नहीं जो मुझे चाहिए वो मिलेगा नहीं, एंड मिला तो भी मेरा काम, इट्स नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ मी, इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ समथिंग एल्स, एंड देन व्हाई शुड आई वर्क? बट कृष्णा इज सेइंग नो, you do not have any option at all. You cannot avoid working. Abhi, who will leave studying Bhagavad Gita from next week onwards? कौन कौन छोड़ेगा भगवत गीता पढ़ना? Okay, you don't want to give answer. Okay.
Nobody.
You don't want us to be here?
No, because these verses make one so much selfless that it then people feel कि भाई मैं why should I do this? यार भगवत गीता इतना boring है, भगवत गीता इतना pessimistic है. People say that, but this is the fact. Now then somebody may say कि मैं सोऊंगा, I will sleep for a very long time, काम ही नहीं करूंगा. So then Krishna says that even sleeping is karma, even breathing is karma, even seeing is karma, even thinking is karma. So आप सोचो, can you avoid watching, seeing, walking, talking, thinking? You cannot sleep, right? Continuously आप sleep करोगे तो उसका भी कृष्णा ने जवाब दिया है. Krishna will not leave anybody. So Krishna says in 3.8, नियतम कुरु कर्मत्वम कर्म जायो या कर्मणः शरीर यात्रा पीचते न प्रसिद्धेद कर्मणः. नियतम कुरु कर्मत्वम. Constantly you have to perform your activity, perform your prescribed activity. For doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. And we can understand that very well, right? You can't earn money even if you have been given billions and trillions of dollars on your name. Okay. So even if you sleep down on the sofa for 24 hours, all the 365 days, still you cannot. Because you'll have to eat. If you have to eat, you have to, pass your natural duties also. हाँ, अगर सोते रहोगे तो इंडाइजेशन होगा, बॉडी बल्की हो जाएगी, फिर क्या करोगे? फिर एक्सरसाइज करना पड़ेगा. So meaning absolutely we do not have any option to say कि I will not work. सब जगह से we have been completely engaged in this body, and the only way out is bhakti, by getting rid of this cycle of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Was that understandable? Did you find it informative? Do you think it resolved some of your questions, or are there any questions left?
Questions may arise in time, but it definitely has resolved a lot of previous, acts or examples or life instances.
Okay. So I have a humble request to all of you at this point of time until the verse 53. Please do not drop out. Meaning, please do not, what do you say? Meaning, please attend all the lectures. Okay, ये verses जो है 39 से 53 ना, they change our perspective from a karma perspective a lot. Okay, 54 to 72 are a kind of a philosophical in nature. मैं purposely उसमें fast जाऊंगा. Okay, and again third chapter से we will again go slow. So please, for the next two classes at least, please come regularly. And agar whoever has not been able to come for the previous two classes, at least वो 41 to 44 जो previous to previous Tuesday का lecture हुआ था ना, please go through that video. That will clear many doubts about punya and papa karma. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry थोड़ा आज extra time लिया. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.